You can't make beats without top-tier fancy equipment and software. False. And I'm going to show you how to do it. First thing you should do, if you have not as yet, please follow or subscribe, and if you have already, then share or like. Honestly, you can make a beat with practically anything that allows you to record and playback, depending on your needs. My first beat was literally done on one of those cheap phones in the late 2000s before I moved on to some random software, most of which were free, before eventually finding FL Studio in the summer of 2010. And that is still my overall favorite software for music production. However, we're not going to use that here. We're going to use something a lot simpler and a lot freer by the name of Audacity. In fact, this is the software I used in the creation of my first multimedia album, Bombardment. 9 of the 10 tracks were produced entirely in Audacity. So this will be what we use to create a drum beat. Before we start up Audacity, there are a few things to understand in regards to the basics of the elements that often make up a drum line for a beat. For clarity, you can also define it as the percussion section for those of you who prefer that term. The lead elements for percussion is usually a solid bass drum that is either called bass, kick, or low tom. I often just classify it as the kick drum. And the other lead element is the snare drum, which sounds like a light crash or clap. By the above description, if you haven't figured it out already, these two elements are things you could create out of thin air. A closed fist set sideways slamming on a solid surface can be a kick, and by hitting a plastic bag or crushed up paper or just clapping can be your snare. So you can either create and record those sounds or simply download them because we're about to begin.